everybody, it's me, the Einstein de Wall Street, out front of the New York Stock Exchange. She was born to be ready, the Brazilian blogger. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk, the corner of Broad Street and Wall Street, out front of the New York Stock Exchange. You know, I talked to you about economic data. Economic data is the lifeblood of what the Federal Reserve needs to make the decisions they make to basically help this market head inflation from 8.5%, where we came from, down to the trajectory of 2%, where we hope to go. PPI, CPE, CPI, ISM, DUI, DWI. There's all kinds of EUIs and all that crazy stuff. That is that are the target information and data coming out from the economy that the Federal Reserve has to analyze. We have a 1,000-piece crazy jigsaw puzzle that every week, every month, we all have to decipher. I've decided, you know, I'm here with Dan Ives, you're here with me, trying to break this down. This is the big breakdown. Trade like Einstein for Money News Network. I'm bringing in a little new blood. I'm bringing in a young friend of mine who is doing an internship at the floor of the New York Stock Exchange from Brazil. She is a trader. We've been friends for a number of years. In her own right, she's a major influencer on social media. However, she is also somebody who has a really great mind to analyze the CPI, the PPI, all the economic coming in and trying to look. I know I look like Einstein. I'm not that friggin' smart. She is really smart. The Brazilian blogger. So we're going to sort of, look, we're here at the beginning of the second half of the year. We've gone through the best quarter we had since 2019.
Yeah.
We had actually a really strong second quarter, except for April. And the whole movement of the market, whether it's this Magnificent Seven or the overall footprint of the whole S&P 500, has basically in so many ways been a function of the economic coming in and the goal of the Federal Reserve using the tools they have to get our inflation numbers down from 8.5 to 2. It's sort of like if you want to go on a diet and lose 35 pounds and you go paleo, you go keto, the first 30 pounds are really not that hard to do. The last 5 pounds are really difficult. We, looking at the inflation numbers, got from 8.5% down to 3, and we've been struggling to break below that and get to the ideal secret money number of 2% that the Federal Reserve wants to do. It's all a function of the economic data. How is the economy doing? How is the consumer doing? The production price index, the manufacturing numbers, everything to do with infrastructure. So I'm here with my friend Karin Rodriguez from Brazil. We're going to let her give us a little breakdown on her understanding of these numbers and how it has affected the market.
So
welcome. Hey, give me 5. It's a beautiful
I'm very
thing.
happy to be here with my friend Einstein, and we are talking about today the last CPI. The last CPI was the best CPI from 2020.
4.
Yeah, no. The best one since 2020.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
okay. Wow.
It's the better one.
Okay.
The better one, the last one. So with the last payroll.
Consumer price index?
Yeah, consumer price index.
What does that mean for the people who don't understand?
Consumer price index is an economic indicator that helps the Federal Reserve to see the prices, if the prices is getting lower, so they can change the rates with that.
Okay, so the consumer, the everyday Joe and Jane, the prices that they pay for goods and services.
Yeah.
That is the CPI. When it goes up, that's inflationary. When it goes down, that's not inflationary, and that is our goal. The prices you all pay for eggs, for gas, for energy, for core inflation things. So go ahead.
One thing is very important that people maybe don't know, why inflation is something that we at the market talks a lot. Because inflation, it's your money going, like your power of buying, your power of with your money, it's going lower. So inflation has to be controlled, right?
Correct. Right. We've talked about it. You don't know that much about this show, but we've spoken for the longest time. I've given them the major breakdown on why we are where we are today. Breaking down 2020, breaking down COVID, breaking down the 18 consecutive interest rate raises, inflation getting out of control, and how the Federal Reserve needed to take money out of the money supply to curb inflation. And now we are on that trajectory to get to 2%. Okay, so let's go. Let's focus. The best CPI number since 2020. So that means that the inflation is at its best levels since this whole crazy, the world post-COVID debacle.
And the
so what does that mean?
And the core CPI was the best. The core, do you know what is the core, right?
Explain it to me.
The core, it's...
Or them.
Okay, The core, it's you have the CPI, the whole CPI. In the core, it's the main CPI, which is the principal.
Okay, so you have food,
Yeah.
you have energy, you have real estate, and you
Yeah.
have a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
The core are the more day-to-day expenses that a consumer goes through. Go
And
ahead.
the core was the best since 2021,
Okay.
January.
All right, that just kind of, it's a little more, what's up, guy? Okay, go ahead, let's go with it.
So what happened with the last payroll was very good too,
Okay.
showing us that the labor market's more slowing down, and it is good too for consumer because people are consuming less if the labor market's
I know, but
payroll.
I still have not been able to figure that out. Our goal should be full employment. But we're seeing
I
that
agree.
right, but
I agree.
but in fact that's inflationary.
Yeah.
And that's a way bigger story that we're not going to be able to figure out today.
Yeah, but the markets are very happy with that because actually with a payroll and the CPI, the markets are already precifying that Fed will cut the rates in September. 93%.
But that just recently happened. Let's
Just
talk about it
recently.
because the economic data that's been coming out in the first quarter and the second quarter and up
Yeah.
until a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
we've seen that we were looking at 7 cuts, 5 cuts, 3 cuts. We were actually looking at no cuts or even an interest rate raise.
What do you
And
believe? We are having 1 cut or 2?
you know what? I try not to predict because I can only be wrong.
Okay.
Right now, I live with the probability that as of last week, we're at 93% probability
Yeah.
that they're going to cut 1 in September.
Yeah.
Amazingly enough, they actually started this weekend talking about possibly 2 cuts. But
Yeah.
explain to them, where are we as an economy? How is the economy doing? How is the consumer doing day to day?
Actually, the economic it's showing us better inflation, and the economic is starting to give signs to the federal that this probably can happen.
Right.
And one interesting that happened, that Russell 2000 was up like 3% and
Right.
the CPI.
Let's talk about rotation.
Okay.
Okay, so last week we had 2 bits of economic data that came in. The CPI came in and the labor market came in.
Yeah.
And the market, the NASDAQ, went down. The Dow was flat. That day we were up 32 on the Dow,
Yeah.
down 50 handles on the S&P. Explain your understanding of what that means, because we saw what we call rotation.
Yeah, rotation. Okay, rotation is when hedge funds, they do rotation from one type of assets to another.
Correct.
So was the last time that we see NASDAQ going down with a good CPI.
Correct.
Why? They are starting to buy small caps.
Correct.
So in the last CPI last week, they sell off. We had a sell off in technology assets.
Correct.
And they buy a lot of small caps.
Right.
Small caps is the first assets they started to buy when the economic is showing cut rates.
Cutting rates.
Cutting
Correct.
rates.
Correct.
They are
That's interesting bit of data.
They are predicting that the Fed will cut rates, so
Right.
they are buying small caps because the economic, when cut rates, is going expansion. So small caps,
I like that, yeah.
we have bigger risk in small caps.
Right.
So now, if the Fed is cutting rates in September, they are predicting the economic will expansion with the cuts.
oh.
So they go to rotation to small caps.
I like that. Let's break that down for a minute. So look, the market's been fueled. We had 18 consecutive raises, then we started to lower rates, and now we're talking about most of it and a lot of it, and it was not the only thing because it was a bigger footprint than just the Magnificent Seven. But tech has been one of the leading groups and sectors in this market rally. But what Karin just said was that now that we have a projection for the first time in a while, a little more surety that we're going to have a cut already in September, which is just around the corner. That means that and we saw on Thursday that people were getting out of the high-flying tech names. The S&P was down 50 handles, and the Russell at the same time was up 3.8%, and gold was up $50. So what does that mean? You said that was an indicator that there was going to be economic expansion by lowering interest rates, and that people were willing to put a little less risk in and buying small cap and mid cap in the Russell.
It's a rotation because we saw a lot. They are buying only technology assets, only technology and bonds.
Right, but also look, skeptical to be paying these super high prices in tech that we've seen. Nvidia trading at a post-split, up 1,000% and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so people are thinking that technology is super frothy. It's been the leading stock sector for the last year and change.
Yeah.
So people are always looking for value.
Of
right
course.
now, when the risk is down, look, within the small cap and mid cap, there is a lot of there's a lot of tech exposure.
Okay.
And so I think that's where they were going to put their money.
Of course.
They were getting out of the high flyers and the S&P, and they were getting into the small cap, mid cap tech stocks.
So rotation is when the hedge funds do this switching of assets.
Right,
This
we
is
see it.
rotation.
Yeah, and rotation is a healthy thing. Look, also rotation comes. Think about it. If you're a hedge fund, you're a high wealth person, you are diversified. You're in bonds, you're in fixed income, you're in tech, you're in consumer staples, you're in energy stocks. You've got your money all over the place.
Yeah.
But when the big guys shift, when there's decisiveness and indecisiveness, right? When risk goes up and risk goes down, sometimes you'll get to a point, and also in the middle of a year, right? We're in an election year, has no bearing on the market whatsoever, okay? But we've gone for the last month, even though we've been drifting a little bit higher, the market's basically been flatlining in a certain way because people are indecisive about what the Federal Reserve has not gotten a clear messaging about interest rates. As of Thursday, we did start to see some decisiveness about at least one cut and maybe possibly two. And that's why people are positioning themselves within the industry to get out of their high flyers, get into some things that have been stocks get super high and frothy. The tech has obviously been on fire. So it makes sense to take profits when you can, not when you have to, and get into some of the smaller mid cap and small cap that have room to grow in a market like this.
Yeah.
Tell us about you. So Karin and I met on social media. She is a trader. She has a beautiful community in Brazil. She's working, trading all different things in equities and futures, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And so she got a job as an intern here on the floor at TradeMoss, the company I work for, which is extraordinary. And we're so happy for her that, look, she is hungry to learn, and I love that. Right? If you're a young person trying to get into finance and learn about markets and all that, you've got to be hungry to learn everything you can and go on and search and find something you love to do. This young lady is probably one of the hungriest I've seen because all she wants to do is scoff up as much information and education she can. Tell us about what you do in Brazil. What?
Actually, I want to say something about what are you saying. I'm young.
Yes, you are.
Actually,
as am I.
We live at a time that we have access to information at internet. Every young people has a lot of information that in your time you didn't have.
No, you did not.
So we have to value that because if Brazilian young people don't invest now, we are not having a source of income when we are older.
Correct.
So we have to learn. We have to start investing when we are young. So in Brazil, I am a trader. I help people with content. I help to educate people. I teach people how to trade in Brazil. So I love financial market. I'm very happy to be here learning with
This is her dream. Imagine her
Einstein.
dream was to spend the summer with the Einstein of Wall Street.
Yeah, it was my dream.
I mean, that's everybody's dream, obviously. But I love the fact, because one of the messages that we have here at Trade Like Einstein and Money News Network is investing in stocks and not stuff, right? Getting that mindset that we need to invest in our future. We need to put money to work, right? And the information, it's not a look, there are plenty of people on the internet who are going to give you, look, you actually asked me if we could discuss it. There are bad people, bad actors and good actors. There are a lot of people out there who think this is a get-rich-quick scheme. There are people who out there who have signal services that for $19, they'll tell you where to buy and sell stock. That is a pump and dump scheme.
Yeah.
What's wonderful about Karin
Absolutely.
is she's taken it upon herself to learn the game here, to get the playbook, see the menu, and learn how to trade this market. And she will go to no end to learn everything she can. She has a beautiful community in Brazil. Look, Brazil has got one of the most challenging economies in the world.
Yeah.
Their devaluation of their currency is off the friggin' charts.
Yeah.
However, you have a young, as we have here, the democratization of the trading community in Brazil.
Yeah.
You have a new young generation and a new young community
Yeah.
that you're helping to. What I love is when somebody who's found a way to understand what goes on in markets, they immediately start to give back as opposed to just taking advantage. You've immediately, the minute you found that this is something you love to do,
Yeah.
you've already put your time together to try and help other people.
Actually, I started trading and learning about financial markets in
When you were
2018.
9 years old.
No, not yet. I used to work with a makeup artist. I was a makeup artist for 10 years.
Really?
So I was a little bit boring. I was something more challenging.
Right.
So I started studying finance, and I was in love with that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have to study this. I realized that it's not easy. I realize it.
And it is not easy.
I realized that I have to study, but I realized if I study this, I will get freedom, I will get my future better. So I started, and I'm here right now.
You're here
so
with
it
me.
worked.
What does money mean to you? What does having disposable income mean to you? Does money mean happiness, or does money mean freedom?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Happy, I am happy.
You are happy,
I
but not
am
everybody's
happy.
happy.
I
But
am
it's not a
happy.
function of how much money you have.
No.
I bet you were pretty happy as a makeup artist.
I
as well.
was.
Until you weren't.
Actually, money is freedom, and a lot of people suffer because they don't know how to do money.
Right.
And don't know how money works, and don't know that money is important. Some people it's money is not important. No, money is important.
It's incredibly important.
But people in Brazil, we have a lot of low education about it. So
Right.
I help people talking about money too,
Right.
because if you don't have the right mindset about money,
Yeah.
you will not be able to do money at the
You're
market.
not going to be able to create a future.
You
where
will
you'll be able to grow.
self-sabotage yourself.
Yeah.
If you came from poor family,
Right.
you will start trading, you make money, you feel like guilty of, it's subconscious, you know? People,
It's a mindset.
Yeah,
The
it's a mindset.
psychology around money is a super important thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so overall, what's your foresight on the second half of the year? How do you see this market? I'm not allowed to make predictions, but you are. So what do you think is going to happen third quarter, fourth quarter?
I think Fed will cut rates.
Okay.
And I think the markets will up a lot.
They will. Okay. So
That's what I think.
Really? Okay, cool.
I agree.
And what sector, if you were to be asked, where would you put your money now? I know you are a trader. I would imagine you're also an investor long term
Yeah.
in the market. If
Yeah.
you were to be asked, where would you put your money now coming into the second half of the year, what would you say?
I will put in ETFs here.
Okay. Now, why
Separate.
would you put in ETFs? In what
Because-
sector?
I would put in technology.
Okay.
I would put in banks.
Okay,
Finance
really?
sector.
Okay.
I would put in energy, and I would put in fixed income in Brazil.
Really?
Because fixed income in Brazil will be higher than here. So I will diversify.
Okay,
Because in Brazil our rate is very high.
Right.
So I will diversify here and
Right.
there.
Okay, so tech, obviously, because it's just the name. What do you think about AI?
I think will change everything.
It will.
A lot. More
In a
than
good way or in a bad way?
two.
Both ways.
Both ways.
Okay.
Both ways.
What's the downside?
I think it's very fast changing, so I don't know if anybody will get to go with it, because people, not everyone likes to study, likes to be informed every day. So
Right.
I think AI will change the world very fast. So people will have to.
Yeah, it will, but it's also going to give you. It's going to be able to give you the information you need very quickly.
I agree.
Right,
I agree.
so
But in trading,
It's just hopping a train that's
but
leaving
in
the
trading,
station.
in 5 years, we
Yeah.
change a lot our way to trade in Brazil because of AI. Because they have a lot of the name in English.
Algorithm.
Algorithm.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah,
How do you
algorithm.
say it in Brazil? How do you say?
HFT.
What?
HFT.
Really?
No, forgot it.
Oh my God, that's a rough one.
Portuguese is very
good-
difficult.
I'm good with languages, but that's a really hard one.
No.
Say it
forget
again.
it. agafetes.
Agafetes.
Yeah.
Agafetes. It's an algorithm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a lot of changing in trading because the algorithm
Right.
are everywhere.
Right.
So I trade a lot, supply and demand, reading times and sales and offer book.
Right.
And we have a very asymmetric market in Brazil. It's different from here because the volume is not big like here.
Right. So you don't have the liquidity you have here.
We have, but it's not like here.
Right,
of course not.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very asymmetric.
Right.
So it's very good for them to do money like,
But you're also trading your currencies.
yeah, a lot. I trade a lot.
yeah.
So the algorithm changed a lot our rate to trade
Okay.
in the last 5 years.
But in a good way.
In a good way. If you have to be every day doing the same thing
Right.
to get the feeling of it because it's changing. The offer book is changing. The times sales is changing.
Right.
The orders is not only big orders. We have like slice. They are
Everything.
like
Fractional, 100 share
fractional,
lots.
yeah,
Yeah.
very fractional. Sometimes the price goes in the level,
Right.
and so do you feel something happening there? But our algorithms.
All right.
You have to feel that in that level we have a lot of algorithm trading there.
So you know I always talk about technical analysis. Technical analysis is the key to the castle in trading an incredibly volatile market.
Yeah.
It's gotten its way to obviously Brazil. If people want to find you, if there are people, we have a huge South American audience here. If they want to find you and learn how to find you, how do I find Karin Rodriguez?
And Instagram, YouTube of BD Swiss. My Instagram is K-Point. How I say in English?
I don't know. What is
K-Point R-O-D-R-E-G-U.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
We'll put Rodriguez.
Okay,
There you go.
Rodriguez.
Yeah,
Rodriguez.
K-Point Rodriguez.
Yeah, K-Point
That's what it is.
Rodriguez. In Instagram, it's a easy way. I talk about a lot up there about money, about trading, about here, American market.
So you're the Brazilian version of the Einstein de Wall Street.
Yeah, I am.
You're the Einstein of Brazil.
Yeah.
The Brazilian blogger. Anyway, I'm so grateful you came and helped me with a little bit of a breakdown.
Thank you.
Well, look, we are all, look, the world, actually, as huge as it is very small in using with the internet and with all the communications
This
and
is
algorithms
great.
and whatnot.
This is
we
great.
can be trading different markets,
Yeah.
but still have the same trajectory.
Yeah.
And I think the mindset and the psychology behind trading is also alive and well in Brazil, and hopefully you are inspiring some of the younger people there to
I'm doing
invest in their futures.
I'm doing that.
Right? And invest in
Yeah.
stocks and not stocks.
Yeah, I understand.
So it is an honor to be with you. We're going to dance. Let's go. There you go. That's it. Boom. Okay, the Einstein de Wall Street, trade like Einstein. K. Rodriguez, check her out on Instagram, YouTube, and all over the place. If you need inspiration, she is the one. That's all I got to say about that. Have a great day.
Thank
Boom.
you. Bye.